Good evening, everybody.
Fucking microphone.
You've just missed a brilliant fucking stream of expletives from my co-host there, wrestling with his fucking, I think, what is it, your microphone stand?
Yeah, my boom arm on my microphone just decided to start fucking sagging like a fucking droopy cock.
Oh, yes, so a bit of deja vu there, was it? Fucking hell. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the nice live stream. Glad to see we've got everybody in the chat, all rocking and raring to go. I've seen Darren in there. Hello, sir. I've seen Upworlder, stroke Trevor. Orinoco, hello, sir. Who was...
Crispin pimping me out.
Crispin's here, hawking the STLs. If it's a link, Crispin, and you want to get it to David, you can either DM me on the OTT Discord, mate, or if you can find some way to put it in the chat,
I
do
do
so.
believe
I don't know if YouTube will accept URLs.
Facebook.
I highly suspect it won't. Oh, yeah, the other thing you could do is messages on Instagram or Facebook. Hello, Paul. Hello, Spam. And I'm sure we saw somebody else. I'm just going to have to skip to my YouTube screen so I can see.
Did we see a Tim?
Tim.
Or is
yes.
Tim too busy being friendly?
I don't know if Tim just popped in because Tim's managed to get himself, and no fault Tim. He's managed to get himself some regular gaming on a Thursday, so he's been missing stream. But I did see him pop in the chat right at the beginning, so he may have sort of like done that before he went out. So yes, hello everybody. Hello to everybody else watching us on YouTube. Good to see you. This is a regular Thursday night live stream where we talk about everything to do with the tabletop hobby, from war games, role-playing games, board games, you name it. We'll chat about it at some point. And over the next couple of hours, we're going to be following our regular format. For those who've not been with us before, David and I will have a chat about what we're going to be working on. Although, to be fair, I'm warning you now, I'm not feeling highly motivated, and I may not work on anything.
I'm working on things, but then I have to take an interlude at 9 o'clock and do shit and actually be a co-host for a change.
Ooh, promises. Then after we've done that, we will have a chat about what we got up to our gaming club, which runs on a Monday night. Then I've actually got some YouTube videos and bits and bobs to chat about. And then about 9 o'clock-ish, we're going to tackle our main topic. And it's really just a chat about, as you can see from our thumbnail, the On Tabletop team are running another one of their big community events. So I think it's lasting 3 months from December, January and February 24. And the theme is Dungeonalia. So it's deliberately broad and vague. But we're going to be talking about some of the things that we thought about when we were going, because we want to participate. We want to get into it, because the last community challenge around terrain, we both had so much on that we just didn't prioritize it, and we didn't.
Excuse me. Well, I made a fucking good effort. I'll have you know.
That's me corrected. So, what did you do, mate?
League of Infamy. Admittedly, I didn't get the fucker finished with it, but I did do significantly more than I usually fucking would have done.
Yeah. We've just yes, Cheese Me. Hello, sir. Welcome. Yes, you have missed our first piece of technical difficulties, but sadly, it was off camera. Literally 1 minute before I was about to click the live button, David, it was like something out of a cartoon. You hear the twanging of springs, and David.
Hang on, I can give you all a reminiscence.
And then David's sort of head slides off screen right, and he's sort of like, fuck, right, expletive. Chain of abuse. Oh my God, it was funny. Or, funnily enough, Paul, a certain Jerry McCabe has had the same idea, sir. If anybody, and I'm sure lots of you probably were, in fact, probably most of you, if anybody watched Tim, some dude on YouTube, who's in the chat, who's top of the chat tonight, if anybody watched his live stream, which goes live on Twitch on Tuesday, but is available as a VOD on YouTube and Twitch even now, Jerry talked about Dungeonalia, and he had exactly the same idea, Paul, that he was going to do First World War trenches, because obviously it looks very much like a dungeon format, with you got chambers connected by narrow passages, etc. And you know what? I thought, you bastard, I wish I'd thought of that. Because I did think that's fucking inspired. So you never know. He might have whether he's theming it, whether he's doing it to do your game, or whether he's going to do generic First World War, because he's into everything. Is our Jerry? He's played more games than I've had hot dinners. I don't know, but you never know. And the other thing with Jerry, the other thing with Jerry doing it is that it may end up on OTT. So fingers crossed.
Jerry can.
Well, and he may even use the terrain that he builds in a playthrough or something like that. You never know, do you? Because Jerry's sort of like behind a lot of the play content at the moment. I think pretty much everything that they do that goes up, 80% of it's got Jerry in it. So that's sort of one of his big roles, I think, there at OTT. So, you know, fingers crossed for you, mate. It might end up on there. Oh my god, mate. David's Love Life's getting trolled early. Just for everybody who doesn't know and is new to the chaos, Spam is David's other half.
For fuck's sake.
Oh dear. So, do you want to go first, mate? As you're actually doing work and not sitting here smoking a pipe pretending that you know what you're doing. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, we can. Let me just get to where I need to get to.
That's fine.
There we go.
Yeah. So
we have, for the observant amongst you, a fucking clear desk. More on that later.
Just post in the chat if you think he ought to change the paper on that wet pallet.
I'm getting my fucking money's worth, all right? Leave me the fuck alone.
Also, he can't find them to actually change.
Shut up. Shut up. You don't need to fucking call me out like that. So currently, we are still painting Wild West Exodus minis because apparently they have all of the details on them. Who's attacking me in chat?
Oh my god. But nothing, mate. No, don't look.
Fuck you, Crispin, and the horse you rode in on.
Well, to be fair, you know, everything's fair game, isn't it, mate?
But it wouldn't
Crispin's
be a project
horse.
for David without getting...
Welcome.
It wouldn't be a project for David without getting Deck 10 on a miniature, which is what we're currently doing.
Deck 10! All praise the holy Deck 10!
So we're going to paint some of these tonight. I've got some skin tones to do. I've got some colours to do. We've done a bit of contrast on a few of them because I'm a little bit fed up of doing black without contrast paint and taking hours to do it, so we just slap some contrast on. We now are also, I think, after the other day, if I can get this to come out in the light, I might just have to obliterate my face a second. There we go. We'll just Inquisition everybody with my face cam. Creature. He's done.
I really like that, mate. I think that skin tone's worked amazingly. So go on then. You were having a bit of a crisis last week. What did you actually do in the end to fix the skin tone?
Applied Volupus Pink to the boils and inside the gaping maw. And just stippled a little bit of the original colour back on.
Is that all? Just to sort of tidy up that purple? Well, that's worked a treat, mate. That has worked a treat. You can still see the purple in there. That's a really nice skin tone. That's really good. I'm liking
And then
it.
we went
I think
all the way up with
yeah.
Ewok's favourite fucking colour scheme of Iraqi sand and Russian uniform.
So with the go back. Hang on a minute. Just slow this horse down, sir.
Let me wash my brush out
with the
before it dries.
highlighting on the old cloak there. Oh, was that a lot of? Did you go a bit dry brushy, over brushy,
No,
or is that
that's
literally
all edged.
precision perfect? You've done a good job, sir. A good job. Did it take you long?
Not really. I did that while I was on stream last week.
That's very good. What about?
Hang on.
What about his nappy? It does look a bit flat. Are we highlighting the nappy?
I've got to wash and highlight the nappy, and then we're done.
Okay. I was going to say it's the only bit of the miniature that looks a bit flat, and you've done such a cracking job on the other fabrics. It would be nice to bring it up. Oh, I like that. Yes, I do like the colour palette there, mate. Is that just greys and oranges?
Grey, red leather, and brown leather.
That's interesting. That's good. I'm liking that. And that's, do you know what? I used a grey orange palette on my Infinity miniatures, and I know it works, obviously, because I've used it. I never would have put it on that type of model, but do you know what? That works really well. I'm impressed.
Well, I'm trying to, where I can, follow the art for them as well as I can. So I can't remember this woman's name, but she's wearing black on her card on the Wild West Exodus
tracker. On that model that's just gone down, you've got skin tones to do on that, yeah?
Yeah, skin tones to do on that. Camilla Blanche here.
Yep.
She's wearing a blue
paint job. Good job, sir. Yeah.
Blue outfit, and then I think this is Lucinda Lovelace. And Lovelace has like a dark sea blue / tealy outfit.
That's a really interesting colour. Okay, so where else?
Is just dark sea blue with a wash of incubi darkness from Citadel.
Yeah.
And then I need to go back in, re-establish the dark sea blue and the highlights on all the edges of the petticoat and stuff. And then obviously go in and do like her corset, her thighs, her garter.
What's your colour pick on the other elements? Are you going to basically go for the 2-colour and flesh tone? It's just like the other.
I'm going to go probably red leather for the boots and the satchel that she's got.
Yeah, makes sense.
Just to invert it versus the black one that's just gone off stream. Yeah. Then the brown leather for her gloves, her corset, and her hairpiece. And then she's got grey hair in the artwork. And then we'll decide on the gun and the other detailing bits afterwards. We've got this one that's going to end up with red stockings just to tie in, and then probably some brown leather boots.
Because what, you got knee boots and then stockings out the top?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And then just a red corset and a grey robe.
I like the gold detailing on that robe. That is a nice
well, the gold ties her into the boss.
I see, right, okay. He's good as well. It's a good classic, purple and gold. Can't beat it. See, do you know what?
We've got a range of things. Just bring
the robed guy back on. I mean, I don't know what everybody else thinks in the chat, okay? Just look at that model, okay? You've basically got a robe and some detail and accent on the robe, and that is it, and flesh tones. But that is a great looking model. Why can't good sculptors can do so much with so little. Why the fuck do we have to have the modern tranche of miniatures?
Yeah, but we go from one extreme to the other because from the same company.
Yeah. Even that, I see pouches on his waist, and he's got things around the tops of his arms and
rivets on his trousers.
Yeah, okay.
Fucking set of steam. I don't know if I can get that fucker to focus. Focus, you bastard. Steampunk goggles on his hat.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. So it is. I just think,
like you say, they then have very beautiful, minimal stuff.
Yeah. They're just so much more pleasant to paint.
Yeah, it's a bit chalk and cheesy because you've got some absolutely beautiful, barely any model there, or barely any detail there on the model, and the detail that's there is exactly what's needed. Versus,
Yeah, that was my point, really, Cheese Me. GW, the biggest offender. It's just stop. My biggest nightmare recently was the Commando Kill Team Orc models. Fuck off with them. They can fuck
again,
the
it went from one
bikes off.
extreme. It went from one extreme to the other because whilst there was details on the Krieg half of that box, they weren't egregious.
Oh no, the Krieg were just as bad. You had so many, because what you got, not only did you got all the different pouches and backpack and webbing and all that shit molded onto the middle model. There was loads of pouches to stick on and fucking accessories and holsters and fuck off. It was just too much. It's just endless painting little bits, and then individually highlighting loads of little individually bits if you're that like-minded. Right, mate. So, okay, then do you want to go back? Do you want to reset your camera? Because basically we're looking at some sort of like weird Cylon strip light instead of your face.
Yeah, well, when you've gone away from my desk cam, I will.
There you go. We're watching David the Cylon.
Wow.
Buttons for the button counters. Darren, I painted the crypt, the sort of central crypty thing with the peaked roof, and the ridiculous spikes on the corner that snap off probably 2 minutes after you painted it. And I haven't painted the rest of it because it was such a fucking chore.
What's that, you garden and more?
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful kit, but fucking hell, you can't buy a terrain set that covers, what is it, about 12 by 18 inches if you put everything together, Darren. You can't buy 12 by 18 inches of table space shouldn't take you 3 months to paint. It's like, no, what the fuck? It's crazy. Yeah, I know. You did a cracking job on yours, mate. For anybody who wants to see some more about Darren's stuff, Darren publishes projects on the Tabletop platform, and he's done a great project about it, and we covered it on stream. How long ago?
What you didn't cover last
months?
week that you said about that you wanted to talk about with Darren? Something that you'd seen on the Insta.
Oh yeah, Darren's Insta. I tell you what, I'll bring up Instagram now in a tab. Watch my computer die and everything go judder as I try and open yet another Chrome tab. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was that. No, I don't want fucking notifications right now. It was the Darren did a bloody Bushido miniature, and I don't think.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who we missed. Assla's chaps lady.
Oh, hang on, mate.
We'll go back to her later.
I've got Darren's Bushido miniature up, so we can talk about that. Again, anybody who's a regular visitor knows I'm a complete Japanophile. Those sort of things. I love those miniatures.
You didn't want to scale recreation of Hiroshima yet?
Right, mate. Did you want to go back to Ashla's chaps, girl?
Not at the moment.
Okay, right. Okay. So while David's not going back to Ashla's chaps, girl, you can show us when you've painted her Ashla's chaps. For anybody who was here last week, that I'm still on finishing this Japanese army. So just a quick. This is where basically, if I show you this model here, we've got some of our base colours down. We've got the Japanese uniform. We have German camo beige on the bread bag. And
that's another good colour.
And the cross strapping. Then I'm using saddle brown for boots and small ammo pouches and the main belt. And like this model's got a map case, so we're using that for that. I think that I've got, so it's basically I'm passing over. I've got, what have I got here? About 12 models and this artillery piece. So we're currently painting the saddle brown components across them.
Question for you.
Yes.
How's your Salamander Drake coming along?
It's coming along like that.
Abandoned.
So it still needs work. This cavalry brown, I think this is this sort of orangey brown on the lower hull. There are a few sections. It's quite a complex model with loads of demarcations. So you can see there's probably see there's a slice of hull that wants painting to match the one below it. And all this gold work is done, thank fuck. This is the worst thing about this model. Then there's this thing on the rear here is the shield generator, which I'm going to probably try and do some sort of blue pseudo marble magic-y glow effect with a bit of stippling of different types of blues. And then there's this fire elemental question mark thing, which is living on the front. So I don't know. I might do this as like a blue flame rather than a red flame, so give the model some symmetry. So we've got blue fore and aft. And then the other thing I need to do is I've got 3 other masts here that fit on this ship, and I need to just go back and paint in these spars to tidy them up and neaten up the I think this is dark sand sailcloth. Once that's done, then it's basically I'm going to glue the masts back in and slather a lot in not null oil, Agrax earth, a shade, and call it done. Because obviously it's such a tiny scale model, I'm not going to fuck about with highlighting it. Rigging, no, Darren, no. I'm from the Jerry school of rigging, which is rigging can fuck off.
Do you know why I went dwarves?
Why? Because they've got no sails and they're
Steam engines don't require rigging, bitches.
Oh dear. It's Ewok. I am question mark. I don't get it. Ewok.
Shall we?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Trevor, light blue, I think. Sort of use the light blue as an undercolor. So again, like with flames, you always paint your lightest colors at the center and then go out darker at extremities. So yeah, I was going to do like a sky blue, something like that, on both, and then put darker blues, either sponge stippling on the ball effect at the back, and then painting more like flame effect, but in shades of blue, transitions of blue rather than red, on the elemental at the front. But that's where that is, mate. As I say,
Abandoned.
my current headspace is if a project is started, it will be finished, regardless of how long it takes. Because if not, I end up bringing half-finished projects aplenty to my hobby table, and the pile just grows, and I get really depressed and frustrated with it. I know that it's a unique. Every one of us hobbyists is different. I do not like to have 8 or 10 different half-finished projects staring at me from across the desk. They freak me out and piss me off. I'd much rather put them out of sight, even though I've got loads of half-finished and fucking unfinished projects. I'd rather have them out of sight, out of mind, so I can focus my attention on one thing. Okay, you carry on defending yourself, Ewok. Oh dear. So yeah.
Right. Shall we talk about what we did at club?
Yeah, I'm right. Let me. I want to go first, but
no, you don't get to go first. It's not a pissing contest.
Go on then. You go first.
No, it's fine.
Oh my god, you're such a fucking child.
Actually.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Right. Are you going to go first then?
No.
Right. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm just moving my light behind my camera so that I don't end up silent.
Just escape.
Oh, Paul has got a different YouTube channel now.
What?
Pantyman Entertainment making comments rather than Paul Howells.
Oh my God, he's gone all professional on us. So Mike's name dropped Ewok there being greater. Oh, I see. Now I see what you're defending yourself. So Mike's put in the chat, welcome, Ewok's greater Japanese armies. Didn't you do a big Japanese project though, Ewok? 15 mil? Question mark? I don't think that's unfair praise, is it?
Oh, Paul, that was a mistake. Whoopsie! Professional.
That's very good.
Ever the consummate professional.
Anyway, fucking hell, I'm distracted. I need to... Can I actually do this? Do you know what? Sometimes I hate new folder. Unfortunately, I work on a Thursday, and it means I have way less time to prepare for the stream than I would like. And it shows.
Triggers you.
Slideshow. Yes, right, we're in. Now then,
that's what she said.
Can I make this visible to the people at home without fucking wrecking everything?
I don't know.
Yes, I can. Right, first of all, everybody, what did I do at Club on Monday? Oh, it was 28 mil, was it? I thought it was a smaller scale. Good for you. He painted it at ridiculously cheap mates rate. That's what you want. That's a friend that you want. Good man. That's what Crispin says after about 5 drinks in. So, Infinity. A friend of ours at the club, Alex, wanted to play Infinity. He's already played one game. We played a sort of introductory game with David's...
Pano and Eugene?
Yeah, which is one of the 2-player starters, isn't it, mate? White.
Operation Kaldstrom.
Kaldstrom, yes, well done.
So not last year, the year before, I want to say?
Yes, from a few sets back anyway. So we had played that game. We then played another game on Monday night. 175 points-ish of Hacker's Lamb models from the Red Veil starter set against my Japanese secessionist army, about 175 points. Yep, JSA. And it was fan-bloody-tastic. We played one of the missions from ITS 14, which is last year's Infinity Tournament pack, and it was the Annihilation game, so Annihilation mission, so it's basically just kill points, something really simple, because obviously, for those of you who don't know, Infinity is a great game, but it is not a beginner-friendly game. Much as I love the game, I could never, hand on heart, say if you've never done miniature wargaming before, try Infinity, because it's got a very unique.
It will
feel.
give you a migraine.
It is a very special type of game, utterly unique and brilliant, but it's very different.
What happened to your camera when you were taking that picture? Did you have the shakes or something, sir?
This was not me taking it. Not only do I only have one picture, I didn't even take it. So basically,
Alex took it.
Alex had a sniper that went into hidden deployment, so he literally just photographed the table to show me where the sniper would be, so that he could reveal it later in the game. Because we were having such good fun, I never thought to take a single fucking pic. But yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. For those who don't know, Infinity is only a 3-turn game. You think 3 turns? That's not a lot. Trust me, in Infinity, 3 turns is just enough, because there's a lot going on all of the time. I got off to a great start. I had a guy with a rocket launcher who was in basically camouflaged, and he managed to jump out early on, fire a rocket into his big battle suit, the Faseed, sorry, and took it out. So I got some big point scores in the first turn of the game, my first turn at least.
Yeah, but you had no right doing that.
Yeah,
I can't see shit.
the dice. I mean, basically, he only had to roll an 8 to save his armor roll, and failed it like multiple times. And basically, the fucking because when you get hit by a rocket launcher, it sets you aflame. You keep rolling armor checks till you make one, and the flames go out. Otherwise, it burns you through all of your wounds. So I got some kills early on and got off to a great lead. But he pulled it back, and what was really wonderful to see, 8+ on a D20, which is nothing. What was brilliant to see was Alex. Even though this was his second game, you can tell he's really he really gets it. He played a brilliant strategic move in his second turn, positioned all of his models and put them in what's called suppression mode, which essentially is a bit like Overwatch, so that they're much more effective at gunning down opponents' models if they're given an opportunity. So if anything breaks cover to attack them, they're much more effective at defending themselves. And he created a great little cluster of 3 models that were all covering each other and covering the center of the board. And bearing in mind I just had to get in and kill stuff, he made my job virtually impossible. And because I didn't have any choice but to be aggressive, really, I ended up... He pulled back all of the gains I'd made in the early game, and I just kept losing models while I was trying to dismantle his positions. And he ended up winning by 1 point. I got 3 points and he got 4. So not a super high scoring game, but it was... And again, the 1 point's different. If I'd have managed to take him below 50 points of surviving models, or if I'd managed to keep something a little bit more expensive like my ninja alive, I could have easily tipped it to a draw. It was brilliant. Absolutely. Not only is Infinity a fantastic game, but the whole arc of the game, it was beautifully balanced all the way through. Each player had opportunities, and the dice messed me up at points and messed him up at points, but there were no feel bads. And then ultimately I lost, but do you know what? I lost by 1 point, and I had no dissatisfaction at all with the entire experience. It was a worthy win, and it was just a brilliant game. Cannot sing the praises enough of Infinity. I've said it before on the stream, and I'm going to say it again. Infinity is, in my opinion, probably the best miniatures war game on the market. If you are hardcore into miniature wargaming, what you can do with this game, if you really give it some... You will have to give it some time. Don't get me wrong. Again, this is the other thing about Infinity. I always say to anybody coming to play Infinity, even if you're an experienced war gamer, your first 2 or 3 games of Infinity, don't be surprised if you haven't got a fucking clue what's going on and you feel frustrated as hell. Push through it. The rewards are worth it. And it is very few games where I would say that that is the case, but Infinity, it is very much the case. Yeah, Paul agrees there. It needs plenty of time. Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair, Darren. We've had other people at our club try it, and there's too much going on for them, and I'm, no fault for you, son. Infinity is not, it's not Frostgrave, let's put it that way. There is a fucking lot to get your head around.
Going on, yeah.
And the strategy and tactics are they're not laid out easily for you. You really have to dig for your answers. So that was what I did at club. What about you, son?
I played some Gaslands, didn't get any photos of it. Had a very fucking fun time.
One photo beats none.
6-car, 30 can a piece race, death
Yeah,
race. We only got to gate 2. But fuck, did we have fun while we were doing it?
Yeah, big old game. 6 players.
It was a big old game.
Because how many first timers did you have? 2 or 1?
2.
2 first timers out of the 4.
Yeah. It was a really fun game. Was quite quality. I played Highway Patrol and got up to my usual bullshit shenanigans, unfortunately, much to everyone's disdain. Because apparently Highway Patrol with health for leather and being able to select longs in any gear is a little bit good. So that was fun. We had Miyazaki, Mishkin, Rutherford, another Miyazaki, and a slime player at the table.
I was just about
it was
to say,
nice to see slime. Nice to see slime at the table because it's not one we see often.
Yeah, I was Luke giving that a try, wasn't it?
Yeah, Luke played that. Miyazaki is good. I'm a massive fan of Miyazaki. What's going on in the background? Come on, boys.
Paul said David should have reused some old photos. Fucking don't give him ideas. Oh dear. Sorry, carry on, mate.
No, I'm done there. I'm done
there. We've broken his train of thought. Who won in the end?
Technically Luke.
The slime player?
Because the slime player was winning because the slime player didn't get wrecked. I did go all kamikaze on my bogey's ass, though. So I targeted Ricky, the Miyazaki player, as my bogey and was going head on to him into gate 2. Ricky has an explosive ram on the front, and I was like, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. I've been through the gate. He hasn't. Let's see how this goes, because I've not got many hull points left anyway. Crashed into him head on. Explosive ram took me out.
Oddly.
And because I had a shit ton of Molotov cocktails, I then detonated and shredded his car on the way back.
Oh, dear. So the boot full of petrol turned out to be a bad idea.
Yeah.
You twonk.
It's funny that. So, yeah, all in all, quite a good game.
Oh, my God, Darren. Mate, that's a genius idea. Darren's just posted, I'm pushing for a Christmas-themed game of Gaslands with the scavenger party scenario, but with piles of Christmas presents instead of crates. Using snowmat and fir trees.
That's quite good.
Darren,
and
we might nick that. Might we not nick that for our gaming club?
I think the only way to make it better is because you're on snow, you slide every single time.
That's a custom rule that could work. You have to add a slide to any dice roll.
Yeah.
Or could we create rules for sleighs?
Well, I mean, it's not going to be much different to cars, is it? Santa's elves gone rogue.
Can we do a conversion with like a Santa sleigh being pulled by a couple of off-road bikes instead of reindeers?
Santa's sleigh's a war rig. You've got to take it out.
You'll have to experiment with some custom rules for that. That sounds cool as all hell, Darren.
Like we usually do a Christmas Frostgrave.
Do you know what? I'm really liking the idea of completely stealing Darren's idea there. Could you 3D print some present piles? We'll have to look at the scenario and see what's involved.
It might not be for this year, though.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Yeah, that is fair. Okay, well, it was just a thought.
Well, put it this way. I'm rather busy.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's Ewok. So you could put snowmen on the table and like roll a dice and see if they've got a mine in them.
Can I just say this now, boys and girls? How do we feel about in a couple of weeks exploring custom scenarios and mental ideas for Christmas specials? answers on a postcard in the chat, please. News.
Ooh, Darren got piles of Christmas presents from Bad Squidoo. Huh. So Darren's a yes,
Darren's
definitely.
just
So
yeah.
what you thinking, mate? Have just a stream where we theme it around Christmas scenarios for games and ideas for.
Or again, like we've done a few Halloween scenarios in the past as well, haven't we?
Okay. So let us know both in the chat here, and in the comments below if you're watching us later on YouTube. Right, should we discuss some news as it's 20 minutes too?
Such as strip gaslands. No, that's something completely different. Spam.
Which one was that? Crispin or Ewok?
Spam.
Oh my god. Fucking hell. Spam. Jesus Christ, this lot are bad enough without you encouraging them. Oh my Christ. Right, anyway, let's talk about some stuff. First thing we're going to talk about, because I promised him I'd talk about it the other week and then I forgot because I'm a fucking idiot, is Darren's Bushido miniature. So Darren Harmon, who's in the chat at the minute, I follow Darren Demon Sub Minis on Instagram, and he posted this recently, and I think there's a front and back shot. There we go, yep. Fucking love this, Darren.
It's a fucking beautiful mini.
Look at the. Just a quick question: if it won't take too long to explain, how did you do the skirt and the patterning on it? Because it looks almost random, but then it doesn't.
No, it looks like cherry blossom.
And it is a fantastic paint effect, and that must be tiny because obviously. This is what, 28 mil or 32, is it? They're just a little bit 28 large, are they? These
Ewoks just told Spam there's not enough hazard tokens in the world to play strip gaslands.
Right. So
this is not dark sea blue. Bollocks.
So you've just used the wrong paint.
Gloss and quickly dry the miniature off. I would put it near the flame to dry, but I'll probably melt it.
Oh my god. Right, okay. Videos, YouTube. Jordan Sorcery. We've covered him before. We've mentioned him before. This is a great video. And I don't remember seeing a video like it before. It's probably something that other YouTubers do. But basically what he did was he made a video calling out all the mistakes he's made on the videos he has made over the years. So Darren says he painted and highlighted it in beige, then added random squiggles of red. Fuck me, man. Well, I tell you what, as a paint effect, it works it pulls way more weight than it deserves to. Yeah, do you know what? It's a bit like doing tattoos, isn't it? You can see the paint's got an almost transparency to it, because obviously if there's too much, if it's too solid, it doesn't look right, does it? But I tell you what, you pulled that off brilliantly. Absolutely fantastic effect. Well done, sir. So yes, basically it's not a huge video. There's two main parts to it. He calls out some of the mistakes he's made in previous videos because he does a lot of GW history, shall we call it? A lot of Games Workshop
lore.
Well, not lore about the games, lore about the business, and their properties and sort of like things about their. And it's just a good video. He's a very personable guy. He makes great videos. And then he also, the second half is basically him spoiling some of the big video projects he's got coming up for Christmas and the New Year. And there's some very exciting stuff in there as well. If you're not already checking this guy's channel out, please do. The only caveat is, you really probably want to be a fan of Games Workshop. I mean, he has done a really good video on Argatoria, which I think is a 10mm fantasy mass combat game.
Yes, it is. It's something we were looking at, weren't we? Wasn't
his
it?
video on Argatoria, discussing the factions, he doesn't go so much into the rules and how to play the game, but it's a faction dump, basically. Is a good video, very good video. So, I mean, whether that marks a transition for him moving off GW pretty much 100%, I don't know. But I think the vibe I get from the guy is he's very much a fanboy, but not in a bad way. You know, he just enthuses about GW. Yeah, I agree, Darren. For me, there's the nostalgia factor, but I'm of the age, as you can tell from the old salt and pepper going on here. For me, when he starts talking about the 80s and Games Workshop, then
I'm not going to say what instantly popped into my head, but pre-stream last night.
Oh my god! Yeah, probably best you don't.
Spam showing herself up again. There's a surprise.
Right, huge news from Blackjack Legacy. So I'm sure some of you have seen this. Blackjack Legacy put up his last video on Monday night. Well, possibly second to last, because he may do a clip out. He does a live stream on Mondays, and he may clip a section and just put it out to summarize the gist of it. But Blackjack Legacy, the YouTube channel, is no more. He obviously is going to stay up, and he wants people to carry on enjoying his video content in perpetuity. But he's deactivated his Patreon. He's shutting down he's encouraging people to, no longer be YouTube members, etc., because he has a full-time job starting in January as the creative media manager for Mantic Games, which is fucking amazing news. I really like Andy.
Is Andy relocating then? Because I know obviously he was based in the northeast of England.
Yeah, he's in Newcastle upon Tyne. No, Andy is basically working from home. He does go into this if you want to pop along and watch his live stream. Andy's live streams are a little bit different from ours. It is probably 90% chat interaction. Andy has a massive following, and he basically just uses his live streams to interact with his community, which is great.
My back.
But yeah, he discusses his plans. Obviously, he doesn't spoil anything because he's under, Mantic
NDA.
Ronnie's the only one who's allowed to fucking tell people about stuff he's not supposed to tell them about. So Andy, but basically he's going to be working from home. Yeah, I bet he does, Darren, because it's your neck of the woods, isn't it, son? Yeah. I'll be fair. I like Andy's live streams. I haven't watched too much of his other curated video content. Because again, his stuff like his news, I'm already quite active on Tabletop. So the news feed there pretty much gives me everything I want. But the bloke's got a fantastic personality. The other thing that really got me hooked into his channel was when he did talking head videos, interviews with people like Annie from Bad Squidoo and Dave from MS Paints. He got such a good manner about him when he allows other people to talk, and he's a great interviewer. Do you know what I mean? It was something that I think Jordan's pretty good on Jordan Sorcery, and the painting phase guys are pretty good. I would still say Andy's got the edge. I really liked Andy's talking head stuff. It's a shame he didn't do more of them, to be fair, because he was very good at it.
But it's nice to see him moving on to pastures new, and it'll be nice to see what he does for Mantic.
Yeah, I think it. Yes, he did. He did do one with Warren from OTT as well. Yes, yeah, he did. Good, well said, Orinoco. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, I think it's going to be great for Mantic. and he's, as I say, he's basically converting his studio. It's going to become a Mantic studio, and I think he's still going to, because he's got a fairly young child, I think, so he's a sort of stay-at-home dad. I think his wife works as that as well, so he's got a lot of balls to keep in the air, but hopefully it'll work out for him, and hopefully it's good for Mantic too. But it's brilliant news. Next, what have we got? We have got, talking of the painting phase, Peachy did a battle report with the guys at Games Night. Now, this popped up randomly. I have not watched any other Games Night videos, so I don't know if this is normal content for them, or whether they're more a board game channel, or frankly, who the fuck they are. I haven't got a clue. But this video with Peachy is brilliant. Basically, one of their guys is playing Peachy. I believe they're using the Chosen Men rule set, which really piqued my interest, because that was a rule set I was going to look at for Napoleonics. Because I really like the sort of loose skirmish, small model count type of game, and to actually play a game that got Napoleonic theme but with that sort of like core mechanic really appealed to me. And this video is just pure fun. They do basically Peachy's running the sharp characters from the TV show, Sharps, whatever the hell it was called,
Sharps War or whatever it is.
Sharps War, and it's just fun, absolute pure entertainment,
Unadulterated.
Yeah, so I would strongly recommend, and again, even if you're not into Napoleonics, if you're not into,
I'm getting stuff set up. Bullshit.
You know, Chosen Men as a system, just go and watch this for the entertainment value. The storytelling is fantastic. The sort of like the holes that there, it's shot through with silliness and sort of like allusions to the Sharp TV show and cinematic portrayal of Napoleonics. Do you rate it, Ewok? I must confess, watching this book game, it might be a bit random for me. You know, a bit. Well, anything can happen.
You don't like random, do you?
I like it I like it within its, as long as it stays in its lane. When it
stays in its lane.
When random creeps throughout a game's DNA and basically it's just basically fucking
morphs it.
You know, roll and move, but more sophisticated. I'd get a bit turned
I
off.
thought you were a fan of random movement and everything.
Piss off.
Love you.
So yeah, there was that. And this I've only half watched, but Matt Colville.
Half watched and it's on the recommendation list.
Yeah,
are you feeling okay?
I am. So I've watched the first 25 minutes of it, literally just before we came live. I'll be honest, Matt Colville, for people who don't know, is one of the big Dungeon Master figures on YouTube. Okay, so the guy is currently designing his own role-playing game. He's got his own sort of company, MCDM. They've done 5th edition supplements through Kickstarter, and published books and all that jazzamatazz. The man has got a massive pedigree in both convention dungeon mastering and online dungeon mastering. This video is quite long. It's nearly an hour. But basically, he ends up getting down a rabbit hole discussing edition wars and some of the infighting that happens when Dungeons and Dragons changes edition. And he's doing it almost like reading the crystal ball about, oh, what's it going to be like when 6th edition comes out, or D&D Next, or whatever the fuck they're calling it. You know,
when is that actually coming out? Have we actually got a date for it yet? Because I know it's been teased for ages and ages and ages, but there's such a thing as too much hype.
I don't know, and I don't much care. I'm not a fan of 5th, and I don't imagine I'll be playing D&D Next. So, I imagine it's probably next year, but I couldn't tell you if it's March, June, or October.
Okay.
But I think it's almost certainly going to be 2024 at some point. I can't see it. It won't be pre-Christmas, obviously. It's too close, but it definitely will be sometime next year. People in the chat may know better. But do you know what's interesting about watching this video and why I think it's got a wider audience than people who are just interested in the history of D&D? Is you can see the echoes of Games Workshop's product path, the way that they had their edition cycles for their big flagship games, and the way that it creates dissent and division among its player bases, and how it's popular with some and not popular with others, and it's one step forward and two steps back and
Four
then
steps
three
back.
steps forward. So actually, I think this video, in a meta sense, probably has a wider appeal than the title suggests. So that's why I think it's worth a recommend, because I think some people might just think, I don't give a shit about D&D. But actually there's other stuff in there that might be worth... Oh, what? You in the peachy one? There's quite a few bastards in the peachy one. I think, but essentially, not to give too many spoilers, but basically a huge section of British reinforcements come in led by this officer who turns out to be a complete incompetent tosspot. And basically, every time he's asked to make a roll, he rolls a 1 and causes utter fucking chaos and makes Peachy's game virtually unwinnable. So the word bastard does get thrown around a lot. It is very, very funny. Yeah, so there you go. That's that. Now then,
was there any news from me this week?
There is, mate.
Yes, there was.
There was. So David obviously has talked about FSD, full spectrum dominance, before. We've now got a new campaign on My Mini Factory, haven't we, mate?
Yeah, 2 new factions, load of new terrain. So the factions that are coming, I do believe, are called the Union and the Conglomerate. A little bit backstory on the Union. So basically, they're all unionized workers, etc. They have a very, very unique art style in the fact that a lot of their machinery and equipment is converted like Caterpillar bulldozers and shit like that. They look awesome. The Conglomerate, I think, are like the big hyper faction, or the similar to in Infinity, where you have the Pan-Oceania is all of New Zealand, Australia, and wherever are clubbed together.
The big
I'm
Western
fairly sure
block in bunny ears. Yeah.
The Conglomerate are very similar in the fact that they're hyper developed, unionized, quite industrial, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then we've got a load of
mine crawling.
Yeah,
vehicle,
we've got a
load
like a
piece of terrain on the move. That's very unusual.
Yeah, we've got oil refinery and bits and pieces and some tanks, etc. I'm probably going to back it because I've already got the first 2 factions. It's a game I want to get to the table in 2024, which requires me to start printing armies like it's going out of fashion. And also, this is 6 mil from memory off the top of my head.
Yeah, so it is very small.
Tiny, and it will allow us to scratch the itch outside of DZC.
Yeah,
because whilst DZC is fun, it's very city focused, whereas from what I've seen of FSD, it plays more like 40k in the fact that you don't have to have a shit ton of terrain. Yeah,
it's got a very different play style because it's individual units acting without this sort of like detachment thing, isn't it?
Exactly. So that's why I'm excited to get it for 2024. Yeah, I'm just going to lean out a shot a minute.
So you're getting basically a mixture of extra terrain and miniatures for the 2 factions, mate, yeah?
Yeah, basically.
So it's got 45 days left, so there's still plenty of time on this campaign.
It's got legs.
Printable battle mat seems an unusual thing to offer.
Is it though? Because the reason I say this is because FSD is based on distance units, or whatever they're called, DUs,
Yeah.
and the DUs change depending upon the scale you are. If you offer a printable battle mat, you decide your scale that you're going to play at, then you decide your DUs, then you can print your mat accordingly. It's not as daft as it seems.
No. And while we're on the subject of full spectrum dominance, so for people who don't know, all of the rules and that are free online, downloadable? Question mark, unit cards,
Oh,
etc.
fucking, I'm not even acknowledging Ewok's last comment.
Is that right, mate?
What was that, sorry?
Everything's free online, manual, rules and cards, etc.
I believe it was. I believe now it's a pay-for manual.
Well,
since
the only
they
reason I
went
ask
updated
is
it.
I've just read it here, so because that was going to be the next piece of news, because the guys on Tabletop covered this as well. Modiphius is going to be issuing a retail edition of the rulebook.
Hardbacked rulebook.
I don't know whether it's going to... Oh, here we go, look. It's going to produce a set of rules for the game is scalable from 6 to 15 mil by design. You get 2 packs of unit cards as well. So they're effectively producing... Now, I read in here that they've... Oh, go away, adverts. I read here that the game is and always will be updated digitally, both manual and cards. So Lazy Forger is making a commitment that apparently all of that stuff will remain free if you want it. But obviously for those of us who don't like digital and don't want to spend a fortune colour printing our own stuff...
Shun the non-believers.
Yeah, it looks like Modiphius is stepping in with printed assets.
And considering this is one guy that's done all of the Lazy Forger and FSD stuff...
And they're doing all 4 factions in the cards. So it says here, according to On Tabletop.
News.
So you get
News
enlisted,
there, right there.
tech, conglomerate, and union cards.
I just love the enlisted's fucking big battleship behemoth that just opens up and all the troops walk out of.
Also, as a little sweetener to people to get them to spend their money, the retail edition includes new material such as narrative scenario and solo rules.
Ooh.
And a campaign system that introduces advancement and area of control elements.
We might have to have a look at getting this then. Because obviously I've got the digital rulebook,
I mean, to be honest with you, mate, I don't know how you feel about it. If you're obviously going to print some models. If we play it and I enjoy it, I'm probably quite happy to buy the paper assets. You've spent a lot of money on the STLs. So
yeah, exactly.
I'd probably be, if I enjoy the game, I'd be up for that. Because to be honest, I'd probably rather have them anyway.
Yeah. Right, we're running late.
Yeah, we are. But that's okay because today's topic is quite relaxed and chill, isn't it?
It's a ramble.
So let's go back to the main shot for a little while.
Yeah, we're going to ramble through the deepest, darkest dungeons of mine and Paul's brains.
Yeah, let me check and see what tabs I've got open here. Right, okay. So,
this is what... just before we go on to that, I'm just going to respond to Ewok's comment. This is what surprises me, because obviously Modiphius, as of late, have done a lot of licensed IP shit. So they've done Elder Scrolls, they've done Fallout Wasteland Warfare, they've been resounding successes, etc. They've got their Acton Cthulhu range of the role-playing and other bits and pieces. So it's what surprises me is that they've partnered with the guy behind FSD and they're offering the rules printing for it. Because that's all they are offering is the rule book, etc. Do you know what I mean? They're not offering the miniatures and things at this time. So, main topic o'clock.
Is 5 parsecs something to do with Modiphius as well?
I don't know.
Not sure. Because I don't know much about. I imagine
5
Darren's the man
parsec.
to ask about 5 parsecs from home and 5 leagues. Its sister game. So yeah, on tabletop, are doing. In fact, you know what? That's a tab I should have brought up. Let's see if we can crash my computer again.
Yep, and into the Borderlands.
So they're
Okay, so they are doing more. They're doing more niche stuff now. Then they are diversifying their product catalog. Didn't realise this.
Those games were written. I don't think they're. Are they written by a staff guy who works for them, or are they just sort of like, again, is this like the Lazy Forger where they're just sort of like taking an independent gamer and saying, yeah, we'll be your publishing arm, we'll do that? Because I don't know, to be fair. We may have to look. I'll look into it. So let's
Dungeonalia.
Yeah, let's bring this up for everybody. So on tabletop, we all know it, we all love it, we're all part of the community. So they've got their next big community project, Dungeonalia. Let's build dungeons together. 1st of December to 1st of March-ish. So David and I have been talking about this recently, and we really wanted to do something together as Yellow Belly Tabletop, rather than do something
Independent.
separate. Independent, that's the word I was looking for. Well done, mate. Okay, Paul says Modifius are publishers, so that makes perfect sense for their business model. They basically take stuff and just say, yeah, we can publish that for you. Okay, interesting. Good to know. And I know there's been a bit of talk on tabletop about this. So I suppose the first thing, let's talk about the kind of projects that we thought that we could tackle. And then should we leave it till we'll leave it till later, and then we'll tell them what we've actually settled on, and they can sort of see if they can guess.
So who was it right back at the very start of chat? Was it Orinoco?
Orinoco's already guessed that you were going to do Dungeon Saga Origins.
So shall we go?
Do Space Crusade.
Let me move my desk cam and my face cam.
Yeah.
A minute. Do you want to pull up my desk cam?
Right. Okay. Let me see.
Because we're going to do this. If it'll fit, it won't fit.
So here we go. David unboxing. So
we had Dungeon Saga Origins arrive. Monday.
Yep.
I've taken the wrap off it. I did have a look inside it on Monday to check it was all present and correct, and I think most of it is.
Show some of the.
I am.
Show some of the miniatures off. It's a deep old box, isn't it? Was it about 10 inches deep?
I mean, it's thick.
Colossus.
It's thick. It's big. I'm amazed at how much you get in this box and how it's packaged. Because the original Dungeon Saga, whilst the books were nice, they weren't necessarily the best, were they?
To be honest with you, they're not. They weren't. As somebody who still has the old originals, they are a fantastic idea, but to actually use as a storage solution for the game when you've got it ready to play, they're less than optimal.
So we've got a change of format for the books this time. They're a little bit smaller. They're not standard A4 print like they were in first edition.
Luckily, what she didn't.
But now you've given her an idea, so well done, boys. Well done, boys. I'm just trying to empty all the shit out of the bottom of this. Oh, fucking hell, the dice are nice. Didn't see them the other day. Right, we're now to the bottom of the box. So we're here. Miniatures. We've got rather than it's basically a rerun, very similarly to Dwarf King's Quest. However,
yeah, that's a very. I don't know if the sculpt is exactly the same. The theme,
no, they're
theme is
not.
very the
They're
same. Very similar.
They're totally
Words
different
hard.
sculpts, but they are, as you say, similar in feel. So this is the boss tray or the big guy tray. We've got some Twilight Kin in here. Is it Twilight Kin? No, it's Night. What are the Nightmare ones?
No.
Can't remember.
Fucking hell!
But we've
What's
got a
the
few-
Kings of War Night, the Demon faction? Is it Night? I keep wanting to say Night Haunts, but that's fucking Games Workshop. Oh, somebody help in the comments before my brain explodes.
We've got some very
Night
nice
Stalkers.
Chaos Dwarves.
Night Stalkers.
Yeah, Night Stalkers. Got some very nice Chaos Dwarves as well in this set.
Oh, show us the Chaos Dwarves. Oh yeah, that is nice. What's that, like some sort of mage guy?
Yeah, it looks like it's some kind of mage guy. So,
can I ask a
tray
stupid
one.
question? Can I ask a noob question before we go any more? Obviously, you've got the thick mega box here. Is this going to be a retail edition, or is this like this was
my
a Kickstarter only box?
understanding is, I want to say these 3 are expansions that are coming, not in the base game.
Right.
I can't remember entirely off the top of my head.
Okay.
And then
Glad you're here.
Base game wise, we have obviously the rulebook, and nicely now they've separated the rulebook from
I was going to ask you to
core.
mention that if you hadn't done. I love the format of separate
Again,
rulebook,
we've got
separate scenario books. I do very
So I'm just
much
looking
like
here.
that.
We've got a little map. We've got 10 different scenarios
Okay,
now that form part of
Orinoco
this campaign.
Obviously the expansions are unique to that Kickstarter edition.
Okay.
All the retail edition. So okay. My next question is then, you have got a fuck ton. So you've got 4 scenarios or 5 with the expansions?
1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 thick ones, and then this one that. Shut up, you dick! And then this one, fucking Jesus, Paul. Look at that fucking map.
I know, it looks amazing.
That looks terrifying.
So what is that? Is that creatures, treasures? What the hell's marked on that? Traps?
Creatures, treasures, sigils, treasure chests.
That's a lot of shit on 6 tiles.
That is a lot of shit on 6 tiles. I think that is going to be a horrible game.
I must confess, I do like the tile idea. The way it's streamlined setup of the game. I know you lose some flexibility with not having individual components, but setting up and laying out those sort of like small components, it gets old. Well, I was thinking about some of the custom scenarios that we did for Dungeon Saga back in the day when first edition. Look at that, Mike. Good to see Mike settled in right away. If he's got 4 thick ones, do his pants feel like it?
We then have the second tray, which contains mainly undead and goblins.
Okay, so here was my next question. Following on from what Orinoco said, that the core game.
Fucking hell! Do you remember the Moor pups from Kings of War?
They're more like
me. They've gone on a fucking steroid overdose, haven't they? Jesus!
They're the same size now as the Dead Zone Moor Crushers, by the looks of them.
Fucking huge compared to what they used to be.
So my question was going to be, mate, and you may not know the answer, which is fair enough. Presumably the retail box then doesn't have all of these miniatures, because some of them are going to be specific to the scenarios that are coming later.
Yeah, so your retail edition will have armored skellies, skellies with shields, skellies with bows, zombies, dwarf revenants, and the undead
So those are a lot of the miniatures that were out in the original
zombies, which,
Dwarf
yeah,
King's Quest, weren't they?
basically, yeah. And we've got a new Wraith sculpt as well. Nicer Wraith sculpt as well. Because, again,
Yeah.
one criticism of the original Dungeon Saga, there was a very small connection between the base and these. These are nice and fucking chunky and solid.
And they're round as well. Everything's round, isn't it?
Yes, everything is round.
So,
I've just noticed that myself.
Crispin's asked for, in a roundabout way, Crispin said, give us a review of the figs. Because obviously you've got the original Dungeon Saga. So give us a versus the old and the new. So what are we like for quality and texture and
so
what about bendy bits and random
I was about to say, you remember Olaf, don't you?
Yeah.
From the original. This is him now. He's steroided to fuck. They've gone way more heroic with his scaling.
That's massive compared to the old one, is it not? Or am I imagining it?
It is. I mean, fuck me. It's
a shame
nearly
we haven't
2
got
inches.
The originals there.
It's nearly 2 inches tall. I'll have in a minute. I'll go and grab one.
That would be
I've
really
just got
cool.
lean out
If it's
shot.
not too much stress, mate.
Again, wizard.
Yeah, and
Look,
the poses are more dynamic. They were very static in the old one, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. I mean, we've got a little
How's
monk.
that? Come on, use that staff as a good example. What's your flexibility like on that staff? Is that pretty rigid? Okay, so it's not going to snap. Okay, it looks pretty good.
Pretty good. I am a little concerned about some of the Twilight kin, though.
How delicate stuff is?
Yeah, look at how thin that is.
Oh, but it's flexible. It's not going to snap. The only thing you might get is paint cracking if you're a bit careless and ham-fisted. What about details?
Details, we're looking good. Let's see if I can get it lit better. How's that, boys and girls at home, for details? Can you see them?
Just about. Is that like whole metal object's got what markings on it, like plates?
Yep, plates, rivets, fucking fireworks in his backpacks with little writing on them.
I do like the miniature.
Little stitches on the front of his cape. They're fucking good quality.
That looks like a massive step up from the previous game.
It is massive. I'll go get some miniatures in a minute. We're looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 just in that tray.
Okay, so what have you got? 3 trays?
Yeah, 2 full trays and then a half tray.
So you're basically 100 miniatures.
Yeah, basically 100 minis. I'm looking at it. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 playable classes. So I'm just going to disconnect my headset a second.
Yeah, sure. Go get as a first edition. So yeah, I must confess, I do. I think one of the nice things for those of you who've been watching us regularly, David and I both bought into the original Dungeon Saga, and now that we're such good friends and sort of like, gaming buddies, we've sort of made a pact now to try and spread our commitment to different games, so we're not getting duplicate purchases. And David did this Kickstarter. I did Maladum from Battle Systems. So when I get delivery on that, we'll be covering some of the Maladum stuff on the stream as well.
Oh my fucking days. The scale is ridiculously different.
I was going to say, I couldn't tell exactly from your camera shot, but it looked like it was crazy.
It's crazy.
Orinoco says that's a lot to rebase on squares.
No, we're not rebasing on squares.
Orinoco, David is of the new generation. He accepts round bases with equanimity.
I like full 360s. So, that's sorry, boys and girls at home. The dwarf, can't remember his name.
Rawdin.
from Dwarf King's Quest. Shall we go? New sculpt. Old sculpt.
Holy shit. Yeah, he's been down the gym.
He got fucking swole.
Fuck me.
What's the wizard's name? It's not Madriga.
Do you know what? Can't remember.
New wizard.
Post in the
Madriga.
comments. Any dungeon. Fucking hell, mate. Those miniatures are massive.
Swole priestess girl.
I must confess, it's nice that you're getting so many different, because you've got the Kickstarter edition of the other one as well, haven't you?
I've got the legendary edition of Dungeon Saga 1 as well.
So, because like you've got characters that I not got, I don't think.
Bollocks, stuff's falling over in my room.
Yeah, I don't know. Crispin's saying that he prefers the old scale.
The new minis are nice.
The thing is,
but
the
I
old minis
don't
are a bit
think-
more true scale as well. There is the new miniatures are very epic proportioned, aren't they? Fat heads,
Yes,
fat arms.
Again, the other thing with the new minis,
Yeah.
I'm unsure if they'll actually be useful
about
for, say, other games of Frostgrave, for example.
Have you got, say, for example, an armored skeleton handy? Just to compare
An
new versus
OG
old
armoured
instead of the
skeleton.
old one. Because if the characters look a bit weird next to each other, it doesn't necessarily matter because you can just play all of the new character models. But I'm just thinking, if you're doing a custom scenario and you want to use all of your first edition and second edition skeletons, are they going to look really maddeningly odd against each
I
other?
haven't got a skeleton, but
Well,
I have
anything you've
got a zombie.
Okay.
I'm just seeing if there's anything else I've got. And I've got a big guy from Edition 1 for reference. So
Because obviously, if you can find the exact equivalent sculpt, because again, if the sculpts were totally different, it would, for me, it'd be less jarring
yeah,
than if they were like, because if they're literally almost the same model, but one's like 80% fucking bigger, it's like immersion warning.
it's a similar sculpt. We've now not got a zombie with a bone,
Okay, well,
but zombie 1,
okay.
zombie 2.
Yeah, give us like an isometric, that's it, sort of angled from above you as you'd see him on the table. Yeah, just tilt the bases. And it's not so bad. I mean, the base thing's more annoying, frankly, isn't it? Going from squares to rounds is probably more frustrating.
And going from squares with the nice pattern
I could live with
smooth
it.
rounds.
I think I could live with it, but I probably would have to rebase everything on one or the other. That would piss me off, having a mixture.
And then we'll go for big guy, shall we?
Yeah, let's see it, mate. Let's see it.
Big guy from Edition 1, big guy from Edition 2.
I suppose as the models get larger, there's less difference. That's less noticeable. I mean, his shoulders are thicker, his arms are way thicker and heavier, but the torso is probably about the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, he is thick throughout. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So yes, this was one of 3 that I had as an idea of things we could do for Dungeonalia. Should we
put the people out of misery?
Well, I was about to say, should we go to yours next?
Well, put the people out of their misery. Are you going to be doing Dungeon Saga?
I may be doing some.
Okay, so Orinoco sort of gets half a point because David probably will be doing Origins, mate. That was a very good shout. For me, let's see if we can change this up.
Let's move shit and get stuff framed better.
One of the things, in terms, if you start talking dungeons, one of the things that occurred to me immediately, both both because it's got a dungeon-like feel and because I have virtually everything that's ever been made for it, and there is still a disgusting amount of it I've never played with or done anything with. My thoughts immediately turn to Space Hulk. So I have an absolute crap ton of miniatures. I've got Gene Stealer hybrids. I bought some bloody I've got Terminator librarians that I haven't painted. The old original ones from the Deathwing expansion, I think they were from.
Yeah.
I've got Grey Knights because there was a supplement that allowed you to play Grey Knights. So I got a box of Grey Knights to paint and play with just for Space Hulk and nothing else. So I've got a lot of Space Hulk stuff I could do, and I even thought, as I have considered, I'm a member of a couple of Space Hulk fan groups on Facebook, and there are some guys who devote their hobby lives to this game, recreating the entire Space Hulk tile set in 3D, either resin or more commonly now FDM printed isometric terrain. I did consider it. One issue is I still don't own a 3D printer, and I don't know how I would get the terrain printed is my first problem, because I don't really want to be putting work on David, because David's got a lot of stuff on his plate already, and he's even got projects backing up for me, like
I have.
Japanese
terrain, Ricky's stuff's backing up, my own stuff's backing up. I'm getting a little bit at the end of my tether asset.
All things considered, and also again, there isn't really the miniatures are all either Marines or Steelers, and it's a little bit flat.
They're all a bit the samesies, aren't they?
I considered it, but then I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do Space Hulk. Another one I did consider was obviously first edition Dungeon Saga, because I own a fuck ton of that I've never painted. But and now there is more in fairness to this one, there is way more variety to the miniatures I don't have painted, because I've got Warlord of Galahir unpainted, Infernal Abyss, is it, or something like that?
Infernal Crypts, I think.
Infernal Crypts unpainted. So I've got a fuck ton of stuff to work at there. And there is more variety to the miniatures, but
Spam's just attacked me in chat.
But it's more Dungeon Saga. And bearing in mind David was going to do Origins, I thought that would be a bit rude to do more Dungeon Saga.
So shall we go for my second option?
I'm not going to do that either. So for me, we still don't know what I'm going to do.
My second option that I spoke to you about before we started stream, that I only just had the random idea of before coming on, I want to play a rank and flank war game.
Oh yeah, I haven't actually got a tab for this, but yeah, tell everybody.
Wanted to collect
because I'd
a
forgotten about the lore.
Miniatures for rank and flank. Hobgoblin is a game that takes place entirely underground as a rank and flank, so it gives me the perfect excuse to, for example, buy a Northern Alliance box from Mantic and build it and paint it for Hobgoblin, because they all take place underground, and then probably add a sprinkling of some custom cave terrain and grotto stuff in, and then all is good.
And which actually is a good idea.
Yeah, because again, it gets Northern Alliance or Dwarves at the moment. I haven't really decided.
I think the only probably fly in the ointment or reason we wouldn't do that is because we didn't really like Hobgoblin that much.
Yeah, that is the problem. It's
when
like,
we played it, it's like,
it's very Rubik's Cube and easily solved.
No. No, but good shout, Orinoco. Good guess. Vietnam, Paul. What's dungeon based about Vietnam? Or is that
The
some
Viet Cong
Vietnamese?
tunnel,
Do I not want to ask?
the Viet Cong tunnels.
Oh
My
yeah.
th-
Okay, that's not a
my
bad shout actually.
my third option
Yep.
is I backed Torch and Shield, which is a
Ooh.
game about delving dwarves in the dark, getting gibbed by monsters and returning and collecting shit from their homeland. Could do a full 3D custom set of terrain for it, very similar to my Dungeon Saga stuff that I've already got, but 3D. And my warbands, or 2 warbands, because it's only 20 minis. So I could boss through that in a month and then spend the other 2 months doing terrain, was another thought I had.
Oh, look at Darren's just posted.
Yes, Orinoco. Northern Alliance has dwarves on crows, but they only have dwarves on crows. There's not full dwarves, is there?
Because you want quite a high fantasy dwarf army, don't you? You want to really lean into this pseudo steampunk vibes of GW.
Yes.
And
Yes.
a lot of the really, because we looked at like fantasy dwarves in Oathmark and that sort of thing.
Then
And
they're not
it's very
nice
low
enough for me.
fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit like Middle
That
Earth
again,
fantasy
that is
dwarves.
like Oathmark is a wonderful game, and we're derailing the topic here a little bit. But Oathmark is a wonderful game. It's just too low fantasy for me.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't get you could get excited about the game, but it wouldn't inspire you for an army project as a first dip, would it? Once you've got some dwarf models for something else, you'd probably be happy to second them into a campaign and try it. But I think you want something that's going to motivate you more, because painting fantasy armies is not a small undertaking, and you've really got to have the passion 110% behind you on that, haven't you?
Again,
I tell
is
you
the reason
what, mate,
why I'm currently narrowing it down to 2.
Are they actually doing dwarves in the old world? Where's V when you need him?
A wild V, when you rewatch this later, comment so that we can find out and pick your brain.
Are they doing dwarves in the old world? Because I'll be honest, I've had a bit of a revelation with the old world. I was like, but now I'm a bit, I'll probably try it. But I know they're not bringing all of the factions back. It's very Empire based. Obviously, Tomb Kings we know are in. Bretonia we know are in.
Orcs are out?
I don't know about orcs and goblins. I honestly don't know what's in and what's out. I think vampire counts are largely out.
I think orcs are out as well.
I haven't got a fucking clue. This is the problem. I don't know what's in and what's out because I haven't been following it deliberately because I didn't. Hello, Tim. Lost at BattleTech. Oh, mate. Well, commiserations. Yeah, I didn't think vampire counts were in, Darren. Darren, do you know a dwarves in? Tim, just while you're here, sir, the chap with the weird manga style username on OTT, whose project you covered on Tuesday, Kitsune, I think he's called, or Kitsune Nui, or whatever the bloody hell it is. That's my mate V, who we did the Realm of Chaos project with. So thank you very much for covering his project, mate. I really appreciate it, and he was thrilled to bits. It was really good of you and Jerry to talk about that. As I say, you made his week. Okay, that's fine, Darren. I won't hold you to it, mate. Although I wouldn't have said, if I was less than 10% sure, I wouldn't have said anything. He caught it. So, well, that's, to be fair, so we know you're doing Dungeon Saga, but we know you're not doing the other things. Another one that I was considering, because I'm old and I own too much shit, was anybody remember Advanced Hero Quest? Now, sadly, that's fine. Happily blame Jerry, and if you see him, I think, and he's got like a fox drawing of a fox for his like icon. So it must be. I think it's a weird spelling of Kitsune with lots of double E's in it. It's weird, but that is him anyway. However he spelt it. So Paul's a bit enthusiastic for this one. So I only have the base game. So for those who remember, that was you basically had in the game you got a mission based around a Skaven lair. So it was you got some men at arms, which were random guy A with halberd times about 10. There were 4 characters, I think. A knight, a wizard, an elf, and probably a dwarf. I can't remember what the 4th character was, or if there was only 3. And it's very much like Dungeon Saga, individual map tiles with you like the original Dungeon Saga. You need a games master for it to run all of the bad guys. It's D12 based combat. It was a great little game, and as we used to have weekly sessions of playing this when I was a student. We used to sit around our kitchen table in St Margaret's Road, I think it was, or maybe St Margaret's Place, one of our houses, student houses, and we got so much mileage out of this game. Darren, get out. What do you mean you had Terrors in the Dark? Don't tell me you sold it. And if you did, why didn't you sell it to me? Have you seen what they go for now? Oh my god, man. Get out.
Sorry, boys and girls.
So yeah, what does everybody think? Is this one a possible advanced hero quest? Again, though, it's just miniature painting. Unless I build some terrain for it. The only thing that's interesting about doing this as a project is you only get clan rats in the base game, but you get rules for loads of other Skaven characters. So
you can do some converting or 3D printing for it.
Or just buy some fucking Games Workshop Skaven models. I don't generally buy from GW, but you know what? I could be tempted to cruise eBay or buy some second-hand Skaven. It was all thrown away. Oh my god, Darren, I think I'm going to be sick.
What did you do that for?
So yeah, what do we think? Build terrain. Again, we could do like... But how am I going to... David, my 3D printing fucking slave is busy. Otherwise, I could get terrain printed for it. I suppose I could craft it. Do like 2D, 2.5D cardboard cereal box Dungeons and Dragons style. So... Spam saying, sort your fucking microphone out. That's a very good shout. Morinoko says, use Mantic's fucking Ratkin models just to trigger the GW fanboys.
Is that better, Spam?
Think of everybody else, you loon. I do apologise for my fucking unruly co-host, everyone. Fucking hell, you can't take him anywhere. So, I don't know. It's possible that I do this as a solo project. It's possible. It's possible. The only other thing, the next one that I thought about, and again, I don't really have a slide for this, is role-playing.
Yeah, we both said this. So you said it in the token of a D&D one-shot, didn't you?
Yep.
And I said about doing some more custom shit for Dungeon Saga.
Yeah, because, I mean, there are a number of ways we could... Yeah, we could write a custom scenario, because we used to do a load of that. Write a custom scenario for use in one of the versions of Dungeon Saga. We could just... Again... It may be this, maybe Dungeonalia is my excuse to write a little dungeon crawl one-shot for the guys at Club to do 1 week sometime in January or February. Because again, I often think about going back to role-playing game, and I always say no because of the amount of time it takes. But maybe if I'm doing it under this, and I know it's a one-shot, and I know it's got strict boundaries, maybe this...
It's got to be done in a session. I mean, again, you said to me, like, the one that I picked up off Tinterweb, that was like the Cthulhu style 5th edition one shot. That's Tower.
Oh
that had the map.
yeah. The one that you took us
You
through.
enjoyed.
That
Yeah,
was a
you
really
enjoyed.
good
You enjoyed
scenario.
playing that one.
Yeah. And it will be a different sort of project. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually writing an adventure and planning to get back to D&D, because I don't really have any way of doing. I might have to commit to some sort of dry white mat or something for mapping,
Yeah.
because I'm not really geared up for role playing in anything other than pure, ultra pure theatre of the mind. So that's possible.
Don't you come around these parts throwing baseless accusations, Orinoco?
So
I didn't decide to do it on stream. I just did it. Same as the ASMR airbrushing.
To be fair, the Game of Thrones role playing, the D20 open license, I think it was White Wolf Dead. The problem is with that, Trevor, it's when you look at it, how it develops, it needs to develop into a totally political game. And I think the pacing is way off for what people would want at club. I think people will want something a little bit more. It needs to be
an in and out, beat shit out of one another, one shot.
Because the Game of Thrones role-playing game, oddly enough, is written to be very much like the Game of Thrones show. So it's like 80% sitting around having a conversation, 20% sitting, swinging your sword and actually doing some action. Yeah, you had a tank of a Lannister. I remember when the old wagon fight, back when Gareth was at club. So that was another thought I had.
Spells are a lot easier now in 2nd edition.
In what? A Dungeon Saga?
Yeah.
I must confess, I can't wait to. Yeah, it's all incest, mate. It's fucking Lannister. Yeah, it was long before COVID. That was long before I went to Scotland. I must confess, I am really looking forward to playing the 2nd edition. So come on, before we go and tell everybody what we're going to do as a joint project, what am I going to do? You've definitely settled on Origins. Do I do the D&D thing?
I've got to do Origins. Let's be honest.
It's the new shiny. Probably people will be dying to see the miniatures. You should get into your stride, post them on Insta, show them off on the stream. People will love the shit out of that, mate. The faster you get it done as well, the faster we can get playing it, because I'm itching to play the new rules and see how it goes.
You're itching, are you? You should probably go to the doctors and get that sorted. Yeah, I think it's going to have to be, isn't it?
So what am I going to do?
What are you going to do?
Space Hulk is a lovely contrast. It's sci-fi versus your fantasy. Again, we could... I don't know how you feel about playing Space Hulk, whether it excites you or not. Do I do the D&D thing?
I'm genuinely unsure.
We need to make a decision in 2 minutes so we can tell everybody about what we're going to do together.
I know what you're saying about the sci-fi of what's it called? The sci-fi of Space Crusade or whatever it is. I can't remember.
Space Hulk.
Space Hulk. There we go. I'll get it right.
Well, Space Crusade was similar. I'll let you off. I mean, to be fair, do you know what? Should we give Orinoco a break? If I picked Space Hulk, he was half right. Because Space Crusade was just like the MB Games, Milton Bradley, cheap fucking high street game that sort of like was Space Hulk light in a sort of way, but wasn't.
Yeah.
So maybe, do you know what? That's it. That's decided it. It's going to be.
You're going to do it to give up. to give Orinoco a half correct.
Yeah, and let's do that because Orinoco was such a good sport shouting him out at the beginning. Let's relent. Let's make Orinoco half rent on all right on your count and half right on my count. So then,
Well, no, he's only half right because we're not doing just a solo project.
Well, yeah, so here's the thing. We also, because we're fucking mad lads, and because on Tabletop have generously given us 3 months to do this, we were talking and we were like, what should we do something together? And we were like, yeah, we could do something a bit ambitious. Yeah, that'll be fine. So we are going
I went perusing the internet, you went perusing the internet, and we have settled on...
Darren, take a drink. So, if anybody noticed about 20 minutes ago, Darren just put Dungeons for Frostgrave in the old chat. We had exactly the same idea, Darren. Basically, we had a chat. So this supplement, for those of you who don't know, this is one of the many Frostgrave supplements. And in this fucking fantastic book, which includes new spells, new character types, new fucking specialist models, it includes a 5-mission campaign, and there are also rules for underground or dungeon-based play. So basically, we went through the missions, and one of the missions is called Here Comes the Flood. So, in this mission, if you imagine it's a weird hybrid of steampunk underground mad lab, sewers,
water treatment works,
and huge open cavern. Okay, so it's a very, very special terrain set. So let's go over to the browser, and then I can show. So we've had a quick look at some of the stuff now. Just bear with me because some of this stuff might be in a bit of a random order. But the first thing that we need for our mat is we need a set of canals, which I think was this one. Right. Okay, so we need a set of canals, which sort of like, and these are filled with ice and water and crossed with various bridges. So the idea that we were going to have is that David's going to 3D print some terrain pieces, and then I'm probably going to do most of the painting to get it ready for play. But the idea is to build the most pimp version of Here Comes the Flood and do the whole scenario justice. So you start with this big cross, this big X of tunnels, one running directly north-south, if you like, one running directly east-west.
East-west.
And
they intersect in the middle.
These printable sections here are perfect for the job. They need to be crossed by bridges. Now, David and I thought that for the bridges, we would do basically scratch built. We did a video. David did a fantastic job scratch building some wooden structures like walkways and scaffolding with kebab skewers.
Bolter and what's it called? McDonald's coffee stirrers.
Stirrers, yeah. And kebab
other brands are available, but McDonald's are free.
And we thought, well, we could use the same tech, and we'll just build some bridges to go over that. The rest of the cavern, your 3-foot by 3-foot play area or whatever it is filled with an abandoned magical water treatment works. So Captain 3D Print there has been on the hunt for loads of cool here we go. Loads of cool steampunk-esque terrain pieces. I've just got a few that he sent me in tabs. that we can
Is it
print
pressure
off.
boiler?
Yeah, the brewery boiler tank. What else have we got here?
There was the Tesla tower.
That's basically it. So those. I mean, I'm sure David being David, he will not stop doom scrolling till he's found probably enough to fill an entire 6x4 with no room to move. But those are the kind of things we were thinking. Another one that you haven't picked anything of, mate, I was thinking like open pools, like you get in modern sewage treatment works, with like the boom arms for the aeration tanks as they are. To expose
Yeah. I mean, they're a bit hard to find in a fantasy setting.
I mean, like we had. What about something that's like a fountain? And could you do something with the 3D model to take the central piece out so it's more of an open brick wall pond?
I suppose I could bastardize that fountain that we've printed.
Oh yeah,
You've got the
already
one with the
printed
wizard
one.
in.
Yeah, if you did that, I'd happily hack it about and get rid of the central piece.
Well, I can get. What I'm saying is, I can hack the model and just print the lower half.
Just take it out, because actually that whole section would be hollow, and that would leave a void in the water, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, are you going to do a resin pour?
Do you know what? I was thinking about it. I've never ever done a resin pour before, and the fact that it's all individual pieces might make it super fucking hard to do a resin pour. But I think I definitely will buy water effects.
And do a water effect.
Yeah. Whether it will be a true 2-part resin poured mix, or whether it'll be one of the pseudo acrylic spatula it on ones from Vallejo, or one of the many model companies that do them for train. I think it's got to be done, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Because the other thing is, we're going to do this for this terrain is going to be made for this scenario. So it says in the scenario that the water channels are congested with ice and that it's freezing cold water. So we're not doing these as normal sewer trenches.
Canals.
We're doing something very specific, which I'm perfectly happy with. To be honest, I don't care how big my Frostgrave terrain collection gets. I love the game. So we're going to have a lot of this steampunk stuff. Then we also found this, and I'm sure David will probably find loads more like it. But these are just basically rock formations, stalagmites, if you like, things that you would find in a random underground limestone cavern anywhere in the world. So we'll have a few of those scattered about the place. And so the other aspect of this scenario is, as you're playing the scenario, at some point there is a massive flood occurs, and then a wave of flood water enters at one of the table edges, determined randomly, and then basically sweeps across the table, washing everything away. So,
and when you enter the water, you get shocked, don't you?
Yeah, you drop your treasures and you get cold damage because it's frozen glacier water. It's a really cool scenario for anybody who's never played it. But when we were scanning the 3D prints, we came across this, which I thought was rather cool. So what we were thinking was we scale these to about 6-8 inches, whatever, print half a dozen of them, and then we can bring these on and move them across the table to represent the flood water that's wiping the models clean. So that, I think, is pretty much it, isn't it, mate? That is our plan. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm
just having a look.
I always remember it because stalagmites have a G in them. G is for ground. That's the way I remember it.
See, I remember it as stalactites hold on tight.
Oh, I like it. Now you see, we've got a double way of remembering that there. So, what does everybody think? Do we think that would be a good Dungeonalia?
Am I being ambitious by wanting to do Dungeon Saga and assist Paul in this mad joint project that we're having together? Should I be more reasonable?
Oh, Ewok, fucking hell, man. Ewok saying you could do them as submerged print half height versions.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I'm not saying that it's a bad idea, Ewok, but old David's already getting committed to a fuck ton of 3D printing here. In fairness to him, I'm not sure doubling that workload or nearly doubling that workload is enough.
I've got a feeling as of about a week and a half's time, my printer's going to be flat out for about a month and a quarter.
Yeah. Do you know what, though? Here's the thing. I have been thinking about how do we represent the flood going across. I love that wave line to represent the surge. But if anybody...
You just seen Spam's comment.
And I want... self. Yeah. If anyone can think of a fucking inspired way to take what is effectively terrain set onto a cobblestone mat and show that half of it is underwater behind a particular point.
You know what? I've just had a fucking idea, but it's going to be fucking way more work.
Well, hang on then. If it's going to be way more work, don't share it, because we want easy solutions, not hard mode solutions. Quick, mute David. Mute.
You know, we said about obviously the canal, the sewer canals.
Yes.
They're stood up as sections, right?
Yes.
And therefore, if they're up as sections, it will just step up and over them with the bridges and that kind of thing, and we'll just play on a cobblestone map.
Yes.
Mad lad idea.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say here.
Why don't we play on a water mat?
Yeah.
And then just build cobblestone fucking platforms for everything to be raised up on, do the scatter, and then as the flood sweeps across, we just remove and pack shit away.
Oh my god.
Because then it's very clear where the flood line is, because we've got the STLs for that are up on the raised surface, and then the water mat showing where it's flooded.
Yeah. Yeah. There's two things, right? Number one, the water then is lower than the ground, which I don't like. But what? Let's take your idea and flip it on its head. Let's say, for example, we have our cobblestone mat, which is our base mat for the game, and then we have a water mat rolled up next to it. Why don't we just unroll the water mat so that it's literally just a mat's thickness?
You could.
That actually would be quite good and relatively easy? Question mark?
The only thing is you'll have all the scatter to sort out as you're going, won't you?
Yeah, but I mean, each turn you move the wavefront forward, lift the scatter, move it, and drop the scatter back where they are. It doesn't really matter if you move the scatter by a couple of inches, because basically all the models get pushed ahead of the flood line, and I don't think anything ever stays in the flooded section.
We have to check.
Has anyone come up with a brilliant genius solution in the chat yet?
No, not that I can see.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, we'll just tell you what. Tell you what we can do. We'll do a live resin pour and pour the resin onto the mat as the fucking water.
Fuck the lot of you. Fuck the lot of you.
Oh dear. Oh, God. Right, okay, so with 10 o'clock rapidly approaching...
We've basically just turned this into a fucking sex Dungeonalia, haven't we?
Oh, dear. Right. Well, guys, thank you for indulging us in our nonsense. We hope... Oh dear. We hoped you enjoyed tonight's show, indulgent though it was, just talking about ourselves and our own little world.
Little unboxing video for people.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below. Are you excited for Dungeonalia? Are you going to be taking part in Dungeonalia? What are your projects that you're going to be embarking on? You've got 3 months, so let's make it something worthwhile.
Actually, before we just go to the end credits on this, while I'm on
credits.
3D Printer Central,
Oh,
no, we can rope Spam and Egg into this when we do the playthrough and the video for the channel.
what?
Of the baller thing, because Spam can play with her Frostgrave warband that can be printed.
Oh, right. I thought for a minute you were going to say, well, Spam can be the one responsible for moving all the terrain and just advancing the water, like one of those things from them 70s game shows where you just... okay, yeah, that's cool.
Tim, 3 months of procrastination for him.
Oh, procrastination in a dungeon, though, Tim. So right, Paul's giving David's idea. Is this the one where we have the tiles and then we remove them to reveal them out underneath?
Spam's comment of Brolly Dolly for wargaming.
Yeah. Do you know what? The only other thing as well is, yes, David's idea's got some elegance to it, but then he has to print 36 inches square of fucking floor tiles.
I can get going tonight. Actually, if I start at midnight, I haven't technically put a foot wrong, have I?
Well, to be fair, it's already gone live. Oh no, I suppose it is 1st of December on midnight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So long as I take a video as I hit the button at fucking...
So you've got 2 hours to kill. Go and get a coffee. A couple of Pro Plus, because you're going to be up all night. Oh, Spam, please make it stop. Right, okay. Thank you very much for watching the show, everybody. If you can find time to do only one thing, please click the like button. If you can find time to do any of the other things in the underneath the like button, do those as well. That'd be really great. Right, shall we go?
Are we going to be taking off the air yet?
Say goodbye, everybody.